This is Winston Bailey, your host of Going Up. Today, I'm going to have with me a special guest by the name of Chris Brewer. And Chris is new to the tech space. As you guys know, Going Up is a podcast that allow new tech entrepreneurs come into the scene, share their service and/or product. They get a 60-second opportunity to pitch their product or service, and after that, we go over some of the key components that's necessary for pitching to VCs. Also, as you know, depending on who the VC is, it's got to be a specific VC niche pitch.
So Fissique, you can go use Fissique to find pop-up sports and fitness events near you. And the ultimate goal of Fissique is we want to make it easier for people to just get active and stay fit. If you go on to Fissique's, our web app, you can find fit camps, boot camps, running groups, and different other unique yoga classes and different other unique pop-up sports and fitness events. Basically, when we use the term pop-up, that's anything outside of your normal brick-and-mortar fitness location, so your normal brick-and-mortar gym. And we are really looking to help support the brands that operate outside of that space. We believe that fitness is moving in that direction, and it hasn't really been disrupted by technology. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a social marketplace for brands like that operate outside of the brick and mortar space.
There's some points that I wanted you to hit. You have to describe who you are as a company, the problem that you're trying to solve, your value proposition, and what's the magic. Now, all in all, it may seem easy for most, but when you're on the spot, which is what a 60-second pitch is all about, you're well prepared and well versed to really get into this. This is your opportunity to really let us know who you are, the problem that you're actually solving to your customer niche, and the value proposition and what's behind the product. So, Chris, this is your opportunity, and you're not under the wire. You got it.
Okay, so I guess we can start off with, and just for everybody listening, that pitch, if you're not ready, if it's not rehearsed, if you haven't said it out loud and it's not finalized at least 30 to 50 times, if not more, that's what happens. I'm a direct effect of that. But back to it. So Fissique, what we are is we're a company whose goal is to make sports and fitness easy for the everyday person, to make it easier for people to get fit. And we're addressing our pain point. It's a twofold pain point. One is from the customer side, and another is from the business side who we serve. Actually going back to a Fissique, so you know what it is we do, and we created a social marketplace that allows brands to basically sell their services that operate outside of the traditional brick and mortar sports and fitness marketplace, as well as for customers to get fit. So our pain points for the customer really is to create an atmosphere where it's easy to find just different, unique sports and fitness activities that are outside the traditional brick and mortar space of gyms, as well as to make fitness social. We feel that people who get fit and stay fit, a lot of times, there's a big social aspect to it. And that's why a lot of people don't stick with it. And, some of those social things are like accountability partners, somebody to hold you accountable, as well as just, having fun while you're staying fit. A lot of things that you do in life are based around, emotions that are attached to it. If you don't like doing it, you're not going to want to do it. So that's one pain point from the consumer side. And from the business side, we're serving those businesses that basically are similar to startups in a sense. They are startups. They're starting a company. They don't have a lot of capital. They don't have a brick and mortar space, but they're still building brands. They're really great in their space, and a lot of times they just have their pain point is getting certain brand exposure and just selling. A lot of times these people are really great at their craft, whether it's yoga, whether it's fitness, whether it's running. A lot of times they're really great at their craft, but they're not great at all the other things that go into running a fitness business. So with that being said, those are the pain points where you're addressing. And our value proposition is the Fissique social marketplace. Basically, it's a marketplace where, people can come in and find unique, really engaging social fitness events, and they can purchase these events. They can purchase them within groups and things we call like cohorts. And we also give them a space where they can talk about these events if you've attended an event. And for businesses, we make it easier. With our platform, we're creating, a social atmosphere. And, as I don't want to give too much into it yet because, as it comes out, we're still working on that product. But basically, we're creating an online and a real life social atmosphere where people can sell an event the same way they would sell an event in real life.
Position is the Fissique social marketplace, where basically we're trying to make the word of mouth process digital and make it easier for people to find engaging social fitness and sports events along with their friends. And yeah, that's the secret sauce. The secret sauce in itself is really it's two parts. We're creating basically a geolocation-based chat room where if you participate in a fitness event, you have access to this chat room for 2 days, talk about, your experience in it. And only the people that actually checked into the geolocation-based event can actually participate in the chat. And we want to allow brands that hold these unique events to be able to use that same word-of-mouth experience, friends talking to other friends about what happened and what they liked, didn't like, and use that to basically sell their services. So that's the secret sauce. And another aspect of the secret sauce, which we believe is going to be really successful, is the cohort aspect. At the end of the day, and this is from the consumer side, when you do things in groups and you have accountability partners, you're more likely to stay fit. So by creating a cohort, you can have like 3 or 4 of your friends and you can sign up together to do different, unique sports and fitness pop-up events, or whether you want to do a running group or whether you want to do a yoga class together or a free fit camp in the morning. So those are the two secret sauces of what we're trying to do to really make the Fissique social market.
We're going to get down to the specifics. We have an audience out. We have an audience out there. A lot of them are navigating the tech space for the first time, and a lot of them will walk down the same path that you've covered.
A service marketplace where brands are selling their services to consumers through our platform.
And what's in it for the guy that's coming to your platform? Do you have a specific? It sounds like marketing. It almost sounds like this is a marketing service, an online marketing service. And so I'm going to ask you this question, and you got to help me out with this. Are you an existing market? Are you in a resegmented market, or are you in a new market?
So we're in a resegmented new market. So fitness has always been around. Yeah. So fitness has always been around, but this idea of these pop-up fitness events are relatively new.
If you had to choose one.
If you had to choose one, I would say we're in a resegmented market because it's fitness at the end of the day. Fitness has been around. It's going to be around. Yeah. So it's a resegmented market. And basically, but it's kind of direction of where the market's going. Almost in the sense of like when Blockbuster was no longer in existence, brick and mortars, almost with certain retail giants like JCPenney's and things like that. Because like newer boutique brands started coming out in the retail space, right? This is very similar to, and they had to compete with online boutiques, right? And this is very similar to that, except in the fitness space. You can consider like gyms, like an LA Fitness, that actually has classes within its larger brand. There are other smaller boutique brands that are more popular and people find them better quality that are like basically taking the industry over. And so we're on that market wave right now. Yoga, like yogi instructors, for the longest time, they've been in this space where they've always been in a gym, right? In a yoga gym, some type of gym. And now you're starting to understand as this market is developing that they can like really branch out and create their own brand. And some of them are very effective at it. And I just feel like there's not one or the other. I feel like everybody's in this space. There's certain like our focus is pop-up events. We've kind of been through that process, and that's our narrowed down focus is pop-up fitness events. So when you're thinking of Eventbrite, you're thinking So when you're thinking of Eventbrite, that's one aspect of it, right? So if you have to like kind of categorize or something, you would categorize it as like an Eventbrite and a mix-up between Eventbrite and Meetup. Probably more in the space of Eventbrite. And so we don't necessarily have to, we're not focused on just runners. We're not focused on just yoga, but we are focused on people that are going into this pop-up event space.
People that attend these pop-up events.
Okay, so the people that attend these pop-up events are, they really range from people who are fitness is all about fitness, who may be addicts, or people who are just trying to get fit. There could be somebody who just wants to do something cool that's active. Our target market, it's mainly women. It's mainly women between the age of 24 to like 45.
Beautiful. Now we're talking.
Yeah. So it's mainly women between the age of 24 and 45.
Are they single women, married women, working, middle?
We haven't gotten that far into demographics yet.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that far into demographics. We do know that women are the people who are most interested in our events. And not only that, but when we go to these events, the majority of people who are at these events are women. As we talk to the brands that are on the platform, the majority of their clientele are women.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
But that's for certain pop-up events.
Okay.
So yoga is going to get majority women. Now, if you're talking a fit camp, which is basically like a boot camp, that might be more 60-40. And then if you look at a running group, there's actually more men running groups than there are women running groups. So, it really depends on the type of business. Say we're going to take running, for example. Running is one of those very unique ones because when you think of an event doesn't have to be one time. An event can be a series. It can be an ongoing throughout the year pop-up event. How we're terming pop-up events, we're terming pop-up events as fitness and sports-related events that occur outside in the traditional brick-and-mortar space. So, for example, they have running groups that never operate. We have running groups that never operate out of a brick-and-mortar space. And then we have some running groups that are basically connected to a larger brand like New Balance or Philadelphia Runner, and they meet every month. So, there's a lot of variations in terms of pop-up events and then now let's talk about outside of like, a running group. Let's talk about a yoga event. You have some yoga events that could be just one time on a rooftop. And then you have series. Some people will do 3 yoga events and then call it a series within a month. Or they call it a summer series, which is sponsored by the Blue Cross at City Hall. So it doesn't, when you think of pop-up event, it's not necessarily a one-time thing. Pop-up events can happen all year. They can happen for a month. They can happen one time. It really depends on the brand and what they're trying to accomplish. And sometimes, like you said, it's certain gyms that have pop-up events because they want to drive people to their gym. And so when these pop-up events are created, it just really depends on the brand. Some people want to have free events, and that's fine with us. And then other people have paid events where they're selling tickets. It's $20 per ticket.
Let's go back to this. So we've established you are B2C, B2B, or B2 Enterprise. Which one was it? B2B or B2C? B Enterprise.
It was both.
It was both.
It's B2B and B2C. We can't ignore either or. I know you don't want to hear it, but that's the marketplace. That's what happens. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a yoga instructor. So yours, because you keep mentioning brand, and this is just me, Joe Schmo, trying to understand your service. And so you're referring to these B2B customers as brands, and you mentioned a few examples, yoga instructor or Nike or a running event.
Mm-hmm.
The people that attend these events, they pay to participate in these events?
It depends on the brand. And when I say brand, the business. These brands are
Okay.
businesses. They
Okay.
just don't have brick and mortar. Yeah. So the business, if they want to have a free event, they can have a free event. You know, sometimes it's corporate sponsored. And then if they're having a paid event, where basically this is how they make revenue, which is a lot of brands that we're really focused on, you know, they sell tickets.
Okay, so do you charge them monthly, annually, quarterly, subscription? How does this work?
So we take a percentage of the ticket sale.
If it's free, then what's the percentage?
If it's free, there's no percentage.
So you're willing
If it's free, there's no percentage.
So you're willing to take on a customer that's like Nike, for example, for the exposure, and they're not going to charge the people to attend that event?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes.
You
Because
say
at the end of the day, it's based on scale, right? Because here's the thing, right? Let's say Nike goes, all right, we're having an event, and it's only going to be listed on a Fissique social marketplace. That's just solidifying our brand. You know, at the end of the day, our marketplace is going to be as valuable as the amount of events that are listed there and the amount of people who come on a daily basis to look at what's on our brand, what's on the social marketplace. So, you know, if they're looking for events or if they're just looking to be social and hear what other people have to say about events, the more that come to the site, the better it is for us. The more brands that want to use our site exclusively to list their events, the better it is for us.
So what's the percentage? You said per ticket sale, right?
Yeah, so we're looking at like 1% per ticket sale at a minimum of like $1 a ticket.
Chris, let's do the math, man. So you're saying 1% per ticket sale. Is that
yes.
So? If how much do you have? Do you have any?
Minimum $1 a ticket.
Okay, so you have a minimum. Okay.
Yeah.
So you have a minimum. So let's go.
So if you list it, right, and it's like a $5 ticket or a $20 ticket sale, right, we'll say 1% or $1, whichever is more.
1%
right,
or
let's
$1.
Say you sell it.
So you're going to need more than a dollar minimum. You're going to need more than a 20 minimum if you're trying to walk away from $1 with $1 of that interaction, right? Is that fair to say?
Yeah. Well, you said you're going to need a 20 minimum. No, I mean if you're 1%,
if you're
selling the ticket for $5, it's just $1. We'll just use $1 as a baseline. We haven't finalized yet, but we're kind of leaning towards $1. So if your ticket is $10, every ticket you sell, we get $1. If your ticket's $20, every ticket you sell, we get $1.
Okay, so it's either 1% of your ticket sale if it's less than.
No, we're just gonna do $1. Yeah,
okay.
You say $1 to keep it easy.
Okay, no. Listen. I'm just listening, man. This is important because, right, at the end of the day, as entrepreneurs, we want to make sure that
we're closer to Eventbrite in that base aspect, which is listing a service for sale. That you brought up, which is a very good question, which is what differentiates us from Eventbrite, right? What's going to get customers to come to, hey, let's go on here to look for a site. You know, let's go on here to look for a fitness event. Right? That was a key question.
Yes.
That will literally be the make or break between us and Eventbrite. And one of those answers to that question is we offer free events. Free events that Eventbrite doesn't offer. Eventbrite and very unique events that Eventbrite doesn't offer. Eventbrite is very wide and very broad, which is understandable, which is also reflective of why they've made a lot of money. Because, you know, people hold events for a lot of different stuff. Whether you're doing an art gala or whether you're doing just, you know, a fitness event. There's a lot of Eventbrite.
So let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question. Do you have any data on the type of customers that are interested in going to your website to participate in a free pop-up event?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're telling me it's women.
This is why I say the difference is Eventbrite is the default option for these brands because there's nothing else out there where they can basically create revenue to sell their brand, right? So that's where we come in. By branding ourselves as a sports and fitness pop-up, you're automatically half the battle is already won. If people know, all right, if I'm looking for a cool sports and fitness event, let me go to Fissique, or I'm looking for a different way to stay active today, let me go to Fissique. Here's the thing. Do you ever just go to Eventbrite just to look at events? Or do you go to Eventbrite because you already know about an event, whether it's an art gala or, even a fitness event, but it directed you to Eventbrite to complete sales services for them? There's not a unified place for people to find these services. So right now, if you're looking for a sports or pop-up or fitness event, you have to be tied into the right places, right? So if you're like, maybe you subscribe to Be Well Philly, and that's how you find out about it. Maybe you've seen something on Instagram. That's another way you find out about it. Maybe you've seen something in the newspaper. Maybe you've seen something in an email chain. There is not one specific place where people can find these unique pop-up sports and fitness events. And that's where we come into place. We're positioning ourselves as a marketplace for these pop-up sports. I already said the first, which was basically what we're already doing, right? We're already approaching these yoga brands who already have, they've been in business for a couple years. You got to understand, too, we're not focused on the studio. We don't believe the future of fitness is going to be a brick and mortar space.
Okay.
So for us to kind of try and sell a brick and mortar studio will be cannibalizing basically our profits and what it is we want to do for the future. So, but what we are doing is very similar to what you said, right? We're creating these events with already established yoga people and dance people who already have events where they sell 30 to 50 tickets every time they have an event every month, right? And we're collaborating with them. We're like, hey, we're here to support you. Because at the end of the day, what's going to make our platform grow is going to be that. Because here's the thing, right? That space with, the brick and mortar studios is already taken by a company named ClassPass with a $500 million valuation, possibly at this point. So we don't believe that the future is going to be in that space. And as I talk to, these unique fitness gyms and boutique fitness gyms that they work with, one of the things they complain about is that ClassPass, they don't give them their fair share of revenue. They don't feel supported by this company, which is terrible. But at the same time, for us, we don't want to make that mistake. Our focus is on these brands that we believe is going to be the future of fitness, because they're already replicating what happens in future period, which is happening in business period, which is basically the lean model, right? Pay for office space when you need it, the co-working space, right? Be as lean as possible, free marketing, right? So we're not looking to necessarily make a killing off of these companies. We're looking to create the space to allow them to grow, so that when the market finally does switch over to the pop-up sports and fitness space and away from the brick and mortar, we'll be in a great position to profit from that space.
How many years are we looking at for this to pop?
Possibly 2 years. It's already happening. We're trying to be that conduit that steps in now to support these businesses. And they're already in agreement. We're talking with people and they're like, hey, I'll give you demographic information as long as we're willing to support what they're doing.
Okay.
And from a genuine standpoint, support what they're doing, not look to make money and profit like ClassPass is doing, and people are pissed about it.
Gotcha. So this is not a profit generating thing initially, or this is just collecting data and building value?
It's a profit generating thing. Just like Eventbrite, every ticket sold, there's money coming in, there's revenue coming in.
Gotcha.
Every ticket sold, they're already selling tickets. They can't even list it like by themselves through Eventbrite and through their own websites. A lot of times they have their own websites, which is basically just like a Squarespace with the ability to sell tickets on it.
Gotcha. So this conversation better, or what does your experience do to improve on the conversation of diversity and inclusion?
Within a tech space or within the fitness space?
So I'm going to say the technology. What's your experience like? What have you seen so far?
So we are not the only one in that space. There are a lot of people who are using, not a lot. The ClassPass is probably one of the bigger ones. That's really utilizing just social media to brand. I don't know what ClassPass demographic is. I know it was not. I'm not sure, like what their company is made up of. I think that for me, if we're talking about inclusion in the fitness space, I feel that a lot of the brands that fit this um, pop up model that I spoke about earlier, a lot of those are company owners who are people of color. Um,
Okay.
they can't afford a brick and mortar space. They can't afford a $500 gym. They can't afford the equipment that goes in it. So what they have to end up doing is they just like anybody else who's scrappy and not really being supported, they create it on their own. And I've seen this, and I've seen a lot of them, really working hard and being successful at it. And I just wanted to create, a platform which will help support what they're doing. In terms of our company, we it's a goal of mine to just continue to stay in a very diversified space. Everybody we go after, everybody we look after, pursuing to join the company, they're all people of color. And I just think that a lot of times too, we just bring just a different perspective about it. I think people of color bring a very underrated perspective to technology because we approach it different because it's not something that we're normally doing all day, every day.
Okay. So we're getting towards the end. So could you give the audience 3 takeaways?
Yeah. So if I'm thinking of 3 takeaways, I would say for one that, it gets hard sometimes, and no matter what, to stick with it. I think that also another takeaway would be, and you can see it through this conversation. When you figure out what you want to do and where you think your business can operate, take more time. Take at least another month, another 2 months. Like really think about it. Think about like who's your customer, right? Think about what's their real pain point. Think about am I serving them the right way? Think about the future of that industry. Am I positioning myself to be in that great space where the future is going? I think you really have to think hard about all of those questions when approaching your business. And I think it's very, and even with this conversation here, like if I didn't really sit down and really think about, what it is that I wanted to accomplish, I could have easily been, swayed and said, you know what, you're right. I can take this route and I can take that route. But I think the real important aspect is taking advice as you hear it, when you hear it, and, processing it, and then ask yourself, does this align with the vision? Does it help my vision? Because you're going to hear a lot of different things from a lot of different people. But if you really sat down and you really did the research and you really talked to people and you really, really gave some real deep down thought as to like, am I in the right space? Not just, oh, I think this is good, I'm going to go after it. Really do your market research and really do your customer research and really do, what's currently out there. Really figure that out and just think through that. And I think a lot of times nowadays, it's easy for people to just kind of be like, oh, I want to do this because I see so many people doing so many different things. I think it's easy to fall into that trap. And I think what's most important is once you decide something to really sit back and be analytical about it and think to yourself, does this make sense? And then think to yourself, is it worth it? For me, this was like a 3-year process, to even get to this 2-year process to get to this point. And it started out something completely different.
You have customers now,
wider
right?
range. Which is that?
You guys have customers now?
Yeah, so we don't have the reservation process up, but we have people coming to our site, checking out what events are happening and things like that. So the next step is the reservation process. Yeah.
What's the average number?
It started out something different. It's probably less than like 15. Honestly too, we just started pushing from a marketing standpoint, like the middle of the month last month. And I just started doing paid advertising on Instagram. We have like about 3,000 followers on Instagram, and we have relationships with brands. So, even though we may not have the traction, we're positioning ourselves, right? We're building that base and that structure, and then making sure that the reservation process is in place so that people can come and they can have more value added. So yeah, I think just all of that is extremely important. And just dive into my customer, survey my customer, and just really like figure out, because at the end of the day, you have to listen to your customer. You have to figure out what your customer wants, and I can make all these assumptions, thinking, oh yeah, I know this and I know that, and the market's telling me this, but at the end of the day, listening to customers, and that's basically that's kind of what's guided us towards that word of mouth space and making it easier for brands as well as like to cohorts, because we were just listening to customers. I talked to people. I asked brands, hey, what's your pain point? What don't you like to do? I asked customers, hey, like, what will make fitness easier for you? What do you like about fitness? What don't you like? And it's been leading us like to these same places. So I'm excited. Hopefully, as we continue to question customers, we can figure out the price, because that's important, but also just make sure we're providing value, value to the product and to the customers.
Beautiful. All right, Chris, thanks. That's good time. Look forward to working with you and seeing the progress in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, listen.
All right, take care, man.
All right, bye.